Have you ever woken up to a quiet morning in an empty house, where the sunlight slants gently through the window, yet not a single familiar voice is there to start your day? No footsteps from a loved one, no simple greeting or question, just a silence that stretches from morning until night. When we were younger, we may have longed for a bit of peace in the middle of chaos, but in older age, when that silence lingers day after day, it no longer feels like peace. It becomes a kind of emptiness that's hard to name. Many people enter their later years carrying that quiet sense of loss. Children grow up, spouses may no longer be around, and old friends start to fade from view. You live alone, and sometimes you wonder, am I slowly being forgotten? But living alone does not mean living in isolation. That silence, if you learn how to listen to it, can become a space for healing, for rediscovering joy, and for truly living for yourself. In this video, we will take a gentle yet meaningful journey together to explore what you can do each day to care for your health, to keep your spirit steady, and to feel a deep and lasting connection to life. If something in these words feels familiar to you, please stay with us, because just maybe, in the next few minutes, you'll discover something that brings a little warmth back to your heart. 1. Establishing a stable daily routine. When you live alone in your twilight years, the first thing you may lose is not your memory, your health, or your laughter, but your sense of time. Gone are the rushed meals because the grandchildren are visiting. Gone are the medication reminders for your spouse or the shared appointments with someone dear. The days begin to blur like the morning mist on the porch, quietly drifting by without leaving any clear mark. Yet within that silence lies a rare opportunity to create a new rhythm of life just for yourself, not for anyone else, but for the peace of your soul and the well-being of your body. A stable daily routine is like a sturdy cane in the hand of an older person. It not only helps you walk with more confidence through each day, but also becomes a steadying presence for your spirit when you feel uncertain. This routine doesn't need to be complicated or full of things to remember. It only needs to be a sequence of small actions you can carry out consistently, gently repeating them in a way that makes you feel like you're truly living each moment. Picture a morning where you wake up at the same time every day, the soft light of dawn filtering through the window as you draw back the curtains and open the window to welcome the breeze. You change into clean clothes, comb your hair neatly, not because anyone is coming over, but because you deserve to begin your day feeling well put together. Breakfast is served tidily, even if it's just a single portion, yet it's nourishing and accompanied by a hot cup of tea or a clear glass of water. No one needs to remind you to take care of yourself now, because you've started doing it for your own sake. Keeping such a schedule isn't always easy, especially when you're surrounded by silence that stretches on, but you can begin with the smallest things. Take Mr. Harold, an 80-year-old man living in Ohio. After his wife passed away, he let time pass him by quietly. Some days, he would wake when the sun was already high. Meals were no longer at regular hours, and he didn't even bother to change his clothes. Life seemed to become nothing more than days waiting to be over. But one day, when the sunlight happened to fall across an old photo of him and his wife, he decided to make a change. He started by folding his blanket each morning and opening the window at a fixed time. No one praised him for it, but he felt a quiet sense of relief. Then he added a short walk around his yard and began tending a few small flower pots. Gradually, he built a schedule for himself, waking up at 7, breakfast at 8, reading for an hour, resting and then lunch, a walk in the afternoon, tea in the evening, and going to bed on time. Nothing grand. But that gentle rhythm helped him find his footing again after feeling lost for so long. Psychologists say that the human brain is wired to love rhythm. When we are young, that rhythm comes from work, children, responsibilities. But in older age, we must take the lead and create it for ourselves. A day with a clear beginning and end helps regulate sleep, supports better digestion, and most importantly, keeps the mind sharp. Even the smallest actions like getting dressed each morning, clearing the table after lunch, or turning off the lights at a set time each night are quiet messages to yourself. I still care about this life. If you feel like each day is starting to look the same, or time is passing without leaving anything memorable. Don't be discouraged. That's not a sign of emptiness. It's an invitation to reset your rhythm. Try writing out a simple schedule for your day and follow it gently. Don't pressure yourself to do too much. Just maintain a steady pace, like a slow and tender melody. Your days will start to feel whole and meaningful again. Living alone can make everything feel still, but that stillness is not your enemy. It's a space for your mind to settle, a fertile ground for nurturing beautiful new habits. And when those habits begin to grow, they will bring you a surprising strength. Just like Mr. Harold, you can create a small garden of your own, a space where every action has purpose, and every day holds something to look forward to. Begin tomorrow, or even now. Set an alarm for a specific time. Choose an outfit you like. Prepare a simple breakfast. Just those 3 small acts are enough to remind you that you are in control of a new day. Because at any age, and whether anyone is by your side or not, you always deserve to live with respect, love, and care from yourself. A steady routine is not only a way to get through loneliness, but a way to tell life, I am still here, and I am still living with deep gratitude. 2, gentle daily movement to keep the body strong and the mind clear. There is something quite unique that happens when you live alone in the final chapters of your life. Life becomes so quiet that even your body seems to come to a halt. You wake up, sit in your familiar chair, then move to the sofa. Take a few steps to the kitchen, and then return to where you started. Just like that. An entire day can pass without any real movement. And gradually, your body begins to respond. Your knees ache when you stand, your back becomes stiff, and your steps grow slower and less steady. But what many people don't realize is that you don't need a gym, fancy equipment, or a complex workout plan to stay healthy. You only need one thing, the commitment to keep moving. No matter your age, your body listens to every signal you send it. Each time you stand up, stretch your shoulders, or walk a few steps, you are telling your body, I still need you. And it's amazing to know that these small, consistent movements each day not only help preserve your bones and muscles, but also support memory, lift your mood, and extend mental clarity. As long as you are moving, you are still actively living. Take the example of Margaret, 77 years old, living alone in the state of Oregon after her husband passed away. The house became too quiet. She had once been full of energy, but grief kept her rooted to the chair by the window for weeks. Her knees started aching, and she felt tired even after a full night's sleep. One day, when she went to get the mail from the box at the end of the driveway, she realized that just walking those few dozen steps left her breathless and worn out. It startled her. The next day, she decided to walk a bit farther around her front yard. Then each day, she went just a little further. A month later, she was walking the whole block and returning home with a soft smile on her face. She said, I no longer feel trapped in my own home. With each step, it's like I'm breathing out a little sadness and breathing in a bit of hope. Movement doesn't have to be a perfect workout. It can be as simple as standing up and sitting down from your chair 10 times each morning, stretching your arms while waiting for the kettle to boil, or walking gently around the house for a few minutes before dinner. Every movement is a quiet message to yourself that you are still full of life, that you still care about your health. Many studies have shown that maintaining light daily activity can reduce the risk of depression in older adults, improve sleep quality, and slow cognitive decline. When you move, your blood flows better, your brain receives more nutrients, and positive emotions have a chance to rise. Even just 10 minutes of walking in the morning sunlight can be a precious dose of medicine for both body and mind. Frank, an 82-year-old man living in Florida, once believed that age had taken away all his strength, but after his daughter encouraged him to take short walks each afternoon, he discovered that those small steps gave him a sense of control over his life. Now, every evening, he heads outside, chats with people walking by, and feels the sea breeze and the setting sun. He says those casual conversations make him feel like he still belongs to the community, that he's still part of the world beyond his 4 walls. No one is asking you to become an athlete at 70 or 80. You don't need to run or lift weights. What you need is your body to be present in motion, a small daily promise that you won't let yourself be held captive by stillness. And when you keep that promise, you are nurturing your ability to live independently for longer, with more strength and confidence. You'll begin to see that keeping your body flexible also expands the time you can remain self-sufficient. Simple things like moving around your house, cooking your own meals, or even watering your garden will continue to be within your reach. More importantly, daily movement helps you feel connected to the world around you. Hearing birds sing in the trees, feeling the soft chill of the breeze, sharing a smile with a neighbor passing by. Those small moments add up to a meaningful life. So stand up, even just for a few minutes, even just a single step inside your home. You don't need anyone to witness it. No one has to applaud. What matters is that you know you're still here, still able to move, and your body is still listening to each gentle step you give it. Taking care of your body is not about fighting old age, but about walking alongside it with gentleness, dignity, and intention. 3. Building gentle but lasting social connections. When living alone, what many older adults find hardest to face is not the silence of the house, but the absence of a familiar voice. There are days that pass without anyone calling your name. No good morning, no simple check-in. Even if you are independent, experienced, and used to taking care of yourself, there are still moments when that emptiness tightens your chest, and that is completely normal. Because at every age, human beings are still creatures that need connection. What many people often misunderstand is that maintaining social connection must involve big gatherings, noisy parties, or tight-knit circles of friends. That's not true at all. Connection can come from very simple, even quiet things. It's a 5-minute phone call with a loved one, a smile to the delivery person, a "how are you today" to the cashier at the nearby grocery store. These small interactions hold immense power because they remind you that you are still here, still seen, still heard, and still remembered. The story of Louise, an 80-year-old woman living alone in a small town in Vermont, is a gentle example of this truth. After her children moved away, she remained in the old house she had shared with her husband. For a long time, the only person she spoke with was her family doctor. One day, when she saw her neighbor struggling to water his garden in the rain, she stepped over and handed him an umbrella. No one asked her to do it, but that small gesture opened something much bigger, a thank you, followed by an invitation for tea that weekend. Now, every Saturday morning, she and that neighbor's family sit down together for tea and conversation. It isn't loud or lively, but it's enough to warm her heart. Connections like these help the heart resist freezing over with time. And science agrees. Numerous studies have shown that older adults who maintain at least one positive social interaction each week have stronger immune systems, a lower risk of depression, and a reduced chance of developing dementia. These conversations, even when brief, act like steady heartbeats keeping emotional life fresh and alive. Donald, 79 years old and a retired high school teacher living alone in Texas, volunteers at the local library once a week to read to children. He shares that hearing the laughter of the little ones and seeing their curious eyes makes him feel young again. No one asked him to do this. He simply wanted to give a part of himself that he still had to offer. And that act of giving helped him feel that he still mattered, still had value, even if no one depended on him the way they once did. If you feel yourself drifting away from the outside world, don't assume you've been forgotten. It might only take a short call, a card to an old friend, or a warm greeting at the corner store to reopen the door to connection. You don't need to be a great talker or naturally outgoing. You only need to be yourself, sincere enough and open enough to share a little warmth. And sometimes, connection doesn't even need to begin with another person. A small dog at the park, a community garden group, or an online cooking class can all become bridges that guide you back into life's rhythm. These activities not only help you feel that you belong, but they also bring new experiences that make each day more vibrant. Loneliness is not about how many people are around you, but about feeling unheard, and that feeling can change with just one small act. Call the friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Write a thank you note to the nurse who cared for you last time. Smile at the person sitting next to you at the community gathering. You never know. You might be the one who brings light to someone else's day. Living alone does not mean living apart. Connection doesn't need to be grand, but it must be steady and sincere. Just one person for you to think of, and one person to think of you, is enough to warm the heart. Let your heart open like a morning window, ready to receive a new breeze of affection and presence, because you deserve to be seen, to be heard, and to be loved at every age. 4. Finding a purpose that makes you want to wake up each morning. There is something very subtle that aging often takes away quietly. The feeling of being useful. When you retire, when your children grow up and no longer need you every day, when the house becomes quieter than ever. There may come a moment when you ask yourself, what am I living for now? That question is not uncommon, and for many, it turns the passing days into something dull, stripped of color and meaning. But what I want you to know is this: your purpose in life does not retire with you. It does not vanish just because you live alone. It's only waiting to be rediscovered, in a new form, softer and closer to your heart. No one says your purpose must be something grand, a career, or a responsibility to the world. Sometimes a purpose is simply what makes you want to get out of bed in the morning, what makes you look forward to the afternoon, the quiet feeling that today you've done something meaningful, even if it's only for yourself. Take Mr. Thomas, an 81-year-old man living in Minnesota, after his wife of nearly 60 years passed away. He no longer felt like doing anything. His old routines lost all meaning. Breakfast became a hurried slice of toast. The house echoed with silence. He had once loved fixing things, but now no one needed him to repair anything. Every day felt just like the one before. Then one day, while tidying up, he found his late wife's old camera. It was the one she used to capture family photos, simple picnics by the lake, or moments of him gardening. He cleaned the camera, loaded film into it, and started walking around his small town. He took pictures of the old bench in the park, the neighbor's dog, his own wrinkled hands making coffee. At first, it was just to pass the time, but then he began to feel revived. The photos weren't just images. They were his way of seeing life again, through a lens of gentleness. A month later, he made a small photo album and mailed it to his daughter in another state. She called him in tears, deeply moved. Now, he takes photos every day, not because anyone asks him to, but because it makes him feel like his life still has meaning. A purpose in life doesn't need society's approval. It only needs to give you the feeling that you're still contributing, still creating, still part of something larger than yourself. It could be a garden you tend every day, a journal where you record memories, a handmade gift for someone special, or simply preparing a pot of tea as a treat for yourself at the end of the day. Mrs. Evelyn, a 76-year-old woman in Colorado, spent many years as a single mother and a literature teacher. When she retired, she felt empty, as if part of herself had been left behind. One day, while reading old letters, she had the idea to write her life story, not to publish, but to help her grandchildren understand who she was, what she had overcome, and how deeply she had loved. Each morning, she sat by the window and wrote by hand. It became therapy for her soul. In writing, she no longer felt lonely, because the past came alive and the future felt hopeful again. That memoir later became a birthday gift for her granddaughter, who said, "I never understood Grandma so clearly until now." Even a small purpose can lead to great change. Psychologists say that seniors with a clear sense of purpose tend to have better mental health, lower rates of depression, and even live longer. When you have something to look forward to, your brain stays more active, your immune system stronger, and most importantly, your heart keeps finding reasons to keep going. The beautiful thing is, when you live alone, you often have more time and space than ever before to explore that purpose. No longer swept away by a busy routine, you can now ask yourself honestly, what excites me? What have I always wanted to do but never had the time? What could I do each day that makes me feel like I'm still moving forward? The answer will be deeply personal. For one person, it might be learning a new instrument. For another, it could be caring for a few orchids on the balcony. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it makes you smile when you think of it each morning. And if you don't know where to start, try thinking of one small action you can do consistently for a week. Maybe write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Maybe call an old friend every Wednesday. Maybe cook a homemade meal every weekend. When you commit to a personal, meaningful action, you're creating a thread that links the present to the future, a quiet reminder that you are still alive, still choosing, and still growing, even with silver hair. Mr. Raymond, 84 years old, was once a passionate carpenter in California. After retiring and moving into a small apartment, he felt his hands were lonely from no longer working. One day, he picked up some leftover wood scraps from the storage shed in his building and started sanding, sawing, and assembling again. Over time, he crafted small picture frames, folding chairs, then mini bookshelves. A child in the building stopped by and asked for a chair for her doll. Soon, more children followed. Now, every Saturday afternoon, he opens his door to welcome little hands into his mini wood shop where they paint, decorate, and learn how to use glue and pins. He says, "I thought my role was over, but it turns out, with just a hammer, I get to be a teacher again." You see, purpose in life doesn't demand greatness. It only needs sincerity and the feeling that you're still contributing to the flow of life. Whether it's a small action, a thing you make, a story you tell, or simply a smile you share with someone, it can all be the thread that connects you to the world. So if today you wake up feeling that life is a little empty, sit in silence and ask yourself, what would make me want to wake up tomorrow? Don't pressure yourself to find the perfect answer right away. Just one thing. One small act you can do for yourself is enough to begin, because when you find meaning in the stillness, you no longer fear loneliness. You turn it into strength. You turn every day of living alone into a day lived with purpose. And that is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. Living alone in the later years of life is not an easy journey. There are long days that pass without a single voice, no one to check in on you, and no one to share your joys or your sorrows. But you know that silence is not always an empty space. If you know how to hold it gently, it can become a precious place to listen to yourself again, to tend to the corners of your soul that may have been forgotten, and to slowly restore the feeling of living with meaning. You don't have to be strong all the time, but you do have the right to feel steady. A small daily habit can bring you a sense of comfort. A few minutes of gentle movement can keep your body flexible and more energized. A simple conversation, whether with a neighbor or a store clerk, can soften the weight on your heart, and a sense of purpose, no matter how small, can become the light that welcomes you each morning when you open your eyes. What you've just heard is not theory, but a collection of gentle suggestions to help you choose the way you want to live. You don't have to change everything in a day. Just begin with whatever feels most comforting to you. It could be tidying up a familiar corner of your home, slowly preparing a warm cup of tea, taking a short walk around the yard, or simply opening your heart to yourself. Every step you choose to take is a step that brings life back to you. If anything in this video made you pause or stirred something inside you, please leave a comment with the words "still here." It's not just a message for me, but for everyone quietly listening alongside you through this screen. A reminder that you are still present, still trying, and that something within you has never stopped glowing. And if you wish to continue receiving gentle but meaningful messages like this one, I invite you to subscribe. It's more than a click. It's how we stay connected, so you don't miss the good things that are still waiting ahead. The upcoming videos will offer more gentle guidance to help you live with health, with peace, and with a deep sense of purpose in your golden years. Before we part, I just want to leave you with this message. You are not alone. There are millions of others going through feelings just like yours, and there are still many beautiful things waiting for you. Never forget that you still have so much to offer, and you are deeply worthy of receiving love in return. We will see each other again soon, on another peaceful morning, where your heart may once more be lit by something simple, but truly real.